Now we are going to be talking about 2D arrays. So basically, we have already understood the concept of arrays, right? Whenever we are creating arrays, we basically just, let's say I want to create an array of type integer, we just create array like this. So this big bracket over here is basically the representation that we are creating a array over here, right? And we can just populate it with values over here, right? So this is how you basically create a 1D array. Now what is a 2D array? 2D array is basically, I can call it array of arrays, right? So basically you can think of it as an array which is further inside containing multiple arrays over there, right? So why do we need basically this array? We're gonna look at that also, but before that let me just quickly tell you that in the memory, like we are creating a simple 1D array. So how is 1D arrays being created in the memory? It's simply like this, in a linear way, right? Now a 2D array will also be stored in the memory in a linear form only, like the representation of the array in the backend in the memory side would be like this only, but the visualization is different. We basically visualize these array of arrays in a different way. We visualize it in the form of matrix, right? So we have already understood the concept of matrices in our school time, right? We have a matrices is basically like this box we used to visualize it, which is having few columns and few rows like this. So if I just say that this is my column row 1, row 2, row 3, and then column 1, column 2, and column 3 like this. So this is how we used to solve the question for matrices, right? So this was my row 1, this was row 2, and this was row 3. Similarly, this was column 1, column 2, and column 3. So the element over here, let's say the indexes of this would be, let's say in programming, obviously the indexing starts from 0, right? So let's say the row 1 has index 0, row 2 has index 1, row 3 has index 2, column 1 has 0, 1, and 2, right? So this element over here would be 0, 0. This element over here would be 0, 1, 0, 2. This would be 1, 0. This would be 1 and 1. This would be 1 and 2. And similarly for the last row, it will be 2 and 1, 2 and, sorry, this will be 2 and 0, 2 and 1, and 2 and 2. So basically, if I want to find the element which is present at the second of the row and first of the column, so second row, first column, this is the index I will be finding, right? Similar thing happens in programming also. Although we visualize it like this, but in the memory, it is actually just behaving like a linear array only. So whenever we are creating a 1D array, what we do is we basically say that ARR like this, and then we put some values over here, let's say 1, 2, and 3, and 4, let's say. So this is how the array will be created. But when we are creating a 2D array, what we do is we basically say array, and then we add 2 brackets over here like this. So this will be the representation, this will be for 1D array, and this will be for 2D array over here. So this is how we're gonna create a 2D array, and then we can basically say over here, so what is this 2D array? This is array of arrays. So basically there will be an array, and then there will be multiple arrays inside it like this. So there will be array 1, then there's some other array over here, then some other array over here like this. So this can have some values, let's say 1, 2, let's say this has 2, 3, and this can have 3, 4 like this. So this is basically this is how we create a 2D array over here. But to like represent it in a better way, how we can write it, we basically write it in the form of matrix just to visualize it properly. So what I can do is I can also write this line over here like this is just a second. So we can say over here that my first array would be 1 and 2, then second would be 2 and 3, and then we can have 4 and 5 like this. So this is how we can write it just to visualize it in a better way. So this is how the where this 2D array will be visualized over here, right? Now let's say I have this 2D array over here. Now I can simply just I can go to any element. I can go to any element. I can print it out. I can change it. I can manipulate this array. I can do a lot of we're gonna solve a lot of questions over this also. But basically in mathematics, let's say I want to print this element over here. How can I just or print or maybe access this element over here? So how can I go to this element? The 0th and the 0th would give me this one, right? Then 0th and 1 would give me this. Then 0 and 2 would give me this, right? 2 and 2 will give me this element over here, right? So let's say I just want to maybe, maybe print all the elements of this array. Just for an example over here, let me just say that, let's say I have created a 2D array, and the 2D array looks something like this. So it is having 2 rows, 3 rows and 3 columns. So a 3 by 3 matrix, a 3 by 3 2D array I have created over here. And let's say it is having some elements over here inside it. So I can populate it 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So this is my 0th index, this is my first index, this is second, this is 0, this is 1, this is second. So let's say I want to maybe go to each element. If I want to print all the elements of this array, so what I'll do is I'll first go to this element, then I'll go to this element, C out, then go to this element, C out, then I'll go to this element, C out, this C out, this C out, then go over here, C out, here C out, and then here C out. So basically what I'm doing is I'm basically iterating over this array. So I'm basically going on the first element of the first row, then the second element of the first row, then the third element of the first row. Then what I'm doing is once the row iteration is over, I'm going to the second row, then the first element again, then second element again, third element again. Now once this is over, then I'm going to the third row, then first element again, second again, third again. So can I say what I'm doing over here is I'm just using a nested loop, right? So I can say that I can create a loop over here. Let's say I. So I would basically go from 0 till, let's say 2, right? 2 indexing. So I will go from 0 to 2 because there are 2 rows in this. And for each iteration, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run another loop. Let's call it J. So J will go from 0 to 2 again, right? And what is this going to do? This is just going to print, see out the value. Which value? Whatever the value I'm getting over here. So let's say first the I is over here and J is over here. So I'm saying that in the first iteration I is 0 and J is 0. So I need to print this. So the intersection of I and J I'm printing out over here. So I can say that I need to see out the array of I and J, right? So this is what I need to print out over here. So what I need to just do over here is that, let's say I have I over here. So I over here and J over here. So when the value of I is 0, then it will go inside this loop, and the value of J is 0. I'm going to print out 0 and 0. So this is going to print out. Then this is going to increment the inner loop will work again, right? So J will become 1. So it is going to say 0 and 1. So this is going to print out I and J. Then J is again going to increment. So this is going to print out. Then once the iteration of the J is over, it will go to this loop again. Now this one will become 1, then it will come back again over here. Now J will become 0 again. So 1 and 0. So this is going to print out. Then J will increment to 1 again. So this will print out. Then it will increment to 2. So this will print out. Then the iteration is over for the Jth loop. It will go back again over here, and this will become 2 again, right? Now this again, this is going to print out. So for 2 and 0, so 2 and 0, this is going to print out this, then this, then this. So in this way I will be able to print out all the elements of this 2D array with the help of a nested loop over here, right? So now let's go to the code and let's try to understand how we create the array and how we can do some manipulations over the array. Okay, so I have this file over here, and first of all let us try to understand. So I'm gonna do the concept of 2D arrays, right? Over here. So first of all, let us try to understand how we can create a 2D array. So creating a 2D array is very simple. If I want to create a 1D array, what I'll do is I'll just do like this. So this is going to create me a 2D array. Let's say the size of the array is 3. So 3 elements, it is going to take a space of 3 and it is going to create a 1D array. If I want to create a 2D array, so I will basically be using two brackets over here. So let's say I want to create a 2D array of 3 by 4. So 3 rows and 4 columns. So this is how I will create it, right? So this is just the creation. This is just the declaration of the array. This is, I have not populated I have not initialized it. So right now, if I try to just, print anything, so it is going to give me garbage values over here. So we're gonna, how can we populate it over here? Let's try to see that. So I'll say there is an 2D array which is having 3 rows and 4 columns, and the values would be in the form of 2D array. So this will be an array of array. So I'm going to create another array inside this. So I can say that it is having 3 rows and 4 columns. So I'll say 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? And just for the representation, it is going to look something like this. In the second one, it will be having let's say 5, 6, 7, and 8. And in the third row, it is going to have 9 and 10 and 11 and 12, like this. So this is how basically this is going to look like. Okay. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to write it like this. You can just write it like this simply. So this is how we have created a 2D array in the memory, and we have initialized the value with these 1, 2, 3, 4, and then for the next row 5, 6, 7, 8, for the next row 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So let's now try to we can print it also, but maybe first thing, let us try to see how we can take user input on this 2D array, right? So let's say I have just initialized the array. I have not initialized the value. I have just declared the array. So I need to basically take input first. So let's see how we can take the input over here. Very simple. We can use a nested loop again. The way I told you how we can print out the values, in the similar way I can input the values also on each index, right? So can I say over here I will have a loop, let's say for int I equals to, it is going to start from 0 and I will go till less than 3 and then I plus plus. Inside this I'm going to have another loop for int j equals to 0, say it is going to start from 0 and then it is going to go less than 4 and it is going to say j plus plus. Or maybe for simplicity, I is basically representing the row over here. So instead of I'll just write a row like this. Okay, so row and row. Okay, and for the j, let me just write call like this. Now what I need to do, I just need to take the user input. So I'm going to say cin where I need to take the user input at the intersection of row and column. So row and call like this. So when I run this loop, it is going to take user input 12 times, 3 into 4, 12, and it is going to take an input on each of the for the first row, it is going to take 4 inputs, then for the next row 4 inputs, and for the next row 4 inputs. So once it takes the inputs, I can also try to print this out. So how will I print this? Very simple. I'm going to say for int I equals to 0. I just need to iterate over the loop, the 2D array with the nested loop, and then just print it out. So I plus plus, or you can take row column if you like, right? I'm just creating this variable over here. So inside this, I'm going to say for int j equals to 0, j is less than 4, j plus plus, and I'm just going to see out the I cross j element. So I and j. So this is going to output the result. Let me just try to run it quickly and see. So it is gonna be asking for 12 numbers over here. I'm just gonna say 1 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. Okay, so yeah, it is just coming like very mixed. So I'm just gonna copy this, I'll paste it again. So basically I just need to maybe add some space, and maybe when the inner loop is over, I'll just also add a endl so that you can see it properly in the form of a matrix only. So yeah, let me just run it again, and I'm just gonna paste it, and I'm just gonna enter. So the output is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. So this is how basically I have taken the user input and I am able to give the output also. So can you see say over here that when I am taking the input, it is basically coming row wise. So one is coming in this, and then second, third, and fourth. So in the row it is gonna fill up, then next row, and then next row. I can also choose to do it the column. So this I can say take user input row wise. If I want to do it column wise, I want to say that one should come and then two should come in the next next row, right? I want to take the input column wise. So how can I do that? Again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say take input column wise. So very simple. What I can do is I can run a loop. Let's create a variable, let's call it call, and I'm going to run it 4 times, right? So I'm going to say call equals to 0, int call equals to 0, call is less than 4, and then call plus plus, and then for the inside one I'm just going to say for int row equals to 0, and row is less than 3, and then row plus plus, and then what I can do is I can just say cin, and I'm going to say array of row and call. Okay, so if I now try to run it again, and let me just paste the values 12, something is wrong. Okay, I need to do it again. Let me just comment this first, save it, and then run it again. So I'm going to paste it. So the output is 1 2 3, then 4 5 6, then 7 8 9, and 10 11 12. Either this way also, or even if I just try to maybe say, let's say this one only, if I just say row 3 times, column 4 times, if I just print call and then row, then also it should work. Let me run it again. Something is acha, I should not select it. So run it again and then paste it, and the output is 1 2 3 4, same. Okay, so basically in this way we are able to, I guess there is some issue, just a second. So 1 2 3 and then 4, then 5 6 7 9 10 11. No, so this is not the correct output. Yeah, so obviously I need to run the outer loop 4 times and the inner loop 3 times, right? So don't get confused in this. I have done this solution already like this. So we can take the column wise input like this, and I can take the row wise input like this. Okay, so now let's try to do a question over here in the 2D array. So we have to basically check if some element is present in the array or not. Like maybe if you just think it from the perspective of a 1D array. So there is this 1D array over here, right? It can have some elements, let's say 1 2 4 9 7 8, right? So there is some target given to us that I have to find some element in the given array. Let's say the target is 7, right? So how will I find it? We can basically just do a linear search, right? We can start from the 0th index and we can check if the element present on the 0th index is equal to target or not, then go on this one, then this one, then this one. Now in the similar sense, we have to do this question for a 2D array. We have to basically find if the given element is present in the array or not. Okay, so let's say we are given a 2D array over here, and it is having 3 rows. So let's create it of 3 by 4, right? Like the one we have done previously. So I'm just gonna create a 3 rows over here and 4 columns like this. Elements which are present inside it are, let's say, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. Okay, very simple. We can create this array if you want to. We are given a target. So let's say the target is some number, let's say 7 only over here. So we have to check if the target is present in the 2D array or not, right? So how we can do it? Very simple. I can just iterate over the elements of the 2D array, and if I at any point at any ARR of I and j, if that is equals to target, what I'll do, I'll just return true, right? This is what I need to do. I just need to check if the ith and jth element of the given array is equals to target or not. So how can I do it? I can use a for loop, nested for loop. So I'll go here, then I'll go here, then I'll go here, then I'll go here, then I'll go here, and when I come here, so it is equal to target, so I'll return true over here. If I have completed the entire iteration and I have not found the target over here, I'll return false. Okay, so we know that how to iterate over the array, row wise also and also column wise. So you can choose to do it anyway. What we're gonna do is, let's see now. So I'm just gonna go back to the IDE and let's write the code for this. Okay, so let's start over here. I'm just gonna write 2D array questions. So I need to basically create a maybe method I can create, which will basically search on this 2D array, like any given 2D array it will search, and it is gonna just find if the element is present or not, right? So let's create a method over here that is gonna return me maybe, you know, true or false, or you know, anything that you want. If you want to return string, if you want to return integer, whatever. So I'm gonna say bool, and I'm just gonna give it a name is present. Now whenever I call this method, what I want is I want to pass an array, and it should not be an array, it should be a 2D array basically, right? And it should I'll also specify the target that I want to find. I can also specify the rows I have and the calls I have, right? So these are the things that I will be mentioning. There is some error over here. So basically it is asking me to specify the number of columns over here, right? Like even if I specify the number of rows, let's say the number of rows would be 3, still the error is coming. If I specify the number of columns, let's say 4, the error is gone. But even if I don't mention the number, the row over here, it is still gonna work. So this is like a homework for you guys. You have to figure out why we are doing like this. Like why is it necessary to pass the number of columns when we are calling it as a parameter, a 2D array as a parameter? Why do I need to do this? So do it a Google search and search why this is required. Okay, so basically the thing is very simple. What I need to do is I need to say for int I equals to 0, or let's keep it more simple. I have row and column, right? So I'll say int row equals to, it will start from 0 and it will go till the length of the row. So you can choose to take user input and go till n also, but just for the simplicity, I'm just keeping it like a constant number over here. So row will go till less than 3, and I'm going to say row plus plus. Okay, now next up we're going to say int call equals to starting from 0 again, and row will go till less than 4 over here, and then row plus plus, like this. So what I need to do, what are the check that I want to create here? I want to check if the ith, if the array, the I and jth element of the array is equals to target or not. So I'm going to say if the ith and jth, ij, if ij, sorry, I have to write row and column now. So I have row and call. If the row cross call is equals to the target, what I need to do, I need to return true in that case. Okay, if I iterated the entire array and I have still not found the answer, so I'll come out of the loop and return false. That's it. So this is a very simple program we have written in order to understand how we can check if the element is present in an array or not. Okay, so let us try to run it now. I'm just going to create an int array of size 3 by 4, and I'm going to put elements over here. So I'm going to say so it's not necessary that you have to like add multiple brackets over here. You can simply write it like this also: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12. This will also work. Okay, so what I need to do is I just need to maybe check if the elements are present or not, right? So I'll have some target over here that I need. You can take the user input of the target, or you can just simply check like give the value over here. So I'm just gonna say if is present, if I get the element which is present over here. So what is the present taking? It is taking the array, it is taking the, let's say target is 7, it is taking the number of rows. So number of rows are 3 and number of columns are 4. So if this is returning me true, right, in that case what I'll do is I will just see out element is present. Okay, otherwise else I'll say element is not present. So else element is not present. There you go. So if I try to run it now, let's see, element is not present. Okay, this should come element is present. So there is some issue over here. So I have created an array for row 0 and go till 3 and call okay, so call less than 4 and call plus plus. This is what I need to do. If array row and call equals to target, I'm going to return true, else I'll return false. So if I run it again, element is present. Okay, fine. Let's try to do it for some element which might not present. So let's say I'm going to search for 17. If I run it, it is going to say not present. So this code is working fine, and this is how I will check if an element is present in my 2D array or not. Now on the similar basis, we have this another question in which instead of just finding the element, what I can also do over here is I have to calculate the sum. So it is very similar to the one that we have discussed in arrays, right? If I want to calculate the sum of a 2D array, what I need to do is I need to visit on this particular index, and I need to add the value in the next one, right? So whatever the total value over here, I need to add the next one in that particular sum, right? Whatever the sum of these 3 numbers are, I need to add 4 in that. So what I need to do over here is I can basically just say that there will be a sum variable over here, right? And what I need to do is I just need to simply add I cross jth element in the current value of the sum. So I need to say plus equals to array of I and j. As simple as that, right? So if I try to run the like again, I need to run 2 loops, right, for I, and then I'm gonna run for j over here till 3 and 4, right? So if I'm trying to say sum plus e, so basically what happens is first it will go here, so sum will become 1, right, I and j, then I and j will come here, so it will become 1 plus 2, it will become 3, then it will come here, so it will become 3 plus 3 6, right? It will come here, then it will become 6 plus 4, like this, so on. So this is how basically it is going to calculate the sum of the entire matrix. Okay, so let us try to write up this code and see how this is going to look like. So I'm just going to remove this. Yeah, now let's go back. Okay, so on the same basis, we, instead of finding a target over here, we can also get a question in which we have to find the sum of this entire matrix, right? So this can be pretty much similar to the one that we have already seen in when we were like trying to calculate, iterate over the array, and we are just trying to search some element and maybe finding the sum of all the numbers over there, right? Similarly, we can do it in the 2D array. What we have to do is we have to go to the each element of the array, and we have to just, let's say I go to ij, so this is 0 0. What I'll do is I'll create this sum variable, and this sum variable will hold the value of the first element, let's say 1. Then it will go to the next element, and it will basically add this value in the previous sum. So it will say 1 plus 2 3. Then it will go over here and it will add this value in the previous value of the sum. So it is going to say 3 plus 3, so it is going to give me 6. Then go over here and it's going to say 6 plus 4, so this is going to give me 10, and so on, right? Obviously we'll be having like 2 loops over here, so I will go and then j will be going, right? Inside this, what we are doing is we are simply saying that sum is a variable that I have created plus equals to array of ij. So like this. With the help of this, I can calculate the entire sum of the matrix. So let's try to write the code for this now. I'll go back to my coding editor. So let's create another function over here, and let me just copy this one only. So this is going to return me a sum over here, and I'm going to pass an array. I don't need a target over here, right? Yeah, so I'm just going to call it print sum. Okay, so I can just see out over here only, so I'm just going to make it void. So I'm going to take an array, then maybe row and column is fine. Then let me just remove this also and remove this also. Okay, so I'm gonna iterate over the row, and then I'm gonna iterate over the column. Then what I need to do is very simple. I need to basically be having a sum. So I need to create a sum variable over here, right? So let me just say there will be a sum variable which will be initialized to 0. And what I'll do, I'll just say sum plus equals to array of row column, like this. So it is going to store the entire sum value over here, and then after coming out of this loop, I'm just going to say cout the value of so now let's write the code for this. So I'm just gonna create a method over here. Let's call it void, let's just call it print sum. So I need to print the sum of the entire array, right? So I'm just gonna say there will be, I'll take the reference of an array, and I'm just gonna take the number of rows and number of columns also, right? So what I need is I need a variable called sum, initialize is it to 0, and I will run 2 loops. So one for the row, starting from 0, a row will be less than 3, and a row plus plus, and another I'm going to run for column. So column starting from 0, column is less than 4, and column plus plus. What I'm doing is I'm just saying that sum plus equals to array of ij. Okay, and then once I have iterated over the entire array, I'm just gonna see out the value of sum over here. That's it, very simple. This should be row and this should be column. Okay, so now let's try to see what is the output. Let me just comment it for now, and let's call the method over here print sum, and this is going to take array 3 and row columns are 4. Okay, so if I try to run it now, the answer would be 78. Yeah, so 78 is basically the sum of this entire array. Okay, so very simply we have just found out how to calculate the sum also. Now maybe question can come, let's try to solve that also after this. Maybe instead of calculating the entire array, maybe I have to calculate this sum of a row wise. Maybe for each row I have to calculate, or maybe for each column I have to calculate, right? So these kind of questions can come over here, so we're gonna see that how we can solve that. And maybe I can do it for row, you can do it for the column, or I can do it for the column, you can do it for the row, right? It is going to be pretty much similar only. So next up, another question can come in which we have to just find the sum of a row, right? We don't have to calculate the entire sum of this array over here. We have just to print the sum row wise. So the sum of this row, the sum of this row, and the sum of this row, right? So how can I do this is pretty simple again, like whatever the approach that we have followed in the last question, what we have followed in the last question, we're gonna follow the same approach over here. So what we were doing in the last question was we were just saying that this plus this plus this plus this plus this plus this plus this, right? Now instead of just going over here and adding this in the this number in the last sum, what we can do is we can just calculate the sum till here and we can print it out. Just that, right? So how are we approaching this problem is that we have to just iterate till only one row and then see out, then the next row and then see out, and then the other row and then the see out, right? So how are we like, for example, if I have this for loop over here which is iterating on I from 0 till the size, and inside that I am having another loop over here which is basically the jth loop, which is iterating from I till the size. So we have already seen that when I am processing this loop over here, so this loop will be iterating on 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So once this j has reached till the size, so I can see out over here, right? And then again I will reset my sum to 0 and then I'll start calculating sum again. So that is how I am going to approach this problem over here. So let's see how I can write the code for this. So let me just open my VS Code, and let me just create a method over here. So it will be pretty much same than this thing. So this is basically responsible for calculating sum of entire array. But let's say I want to just calculate the row sum, right? Calculate sum of each row. So very simple, I'm just gonna say void print row sum, and this is gonna again take an array of same 3 by 4, and it is going to take reference of a row and a column, and then again it is going to have the intern, like the loop, right? 2 loops. So but basically what I need to do is let me just go back. What I need to do over here is that I have to basically say that if I have finished the iteration of this particular row, so there will be some variable I will be maintaining. So this sum will basically say 1, and then in the next iteration it will be 1 plus 2, then in the next iteration it will be 3 plus 3, then next iteration it will be 6 plus 4, like this. But once I get the whole iteration of the entire row, I will reset this sum to 0 again. So this will again become 0. So what I'll do is, once I have see out the sum over here, I can this will go again, right? So over here I can say I can declare my sum as 0. Instead of declaring it globally, I'll just declare it inside this outer loop, right? So let's write the code for this. What I'm going to do over here is I'm going to say that for int I equals to 0, I is less than 3, I plus plus, and oh yeah, so it will be row, not I. And then inside this, let me just create a sum variable. I will initialize it with 0. Then I'll run another loop for int call equals to 0, call is less than 4, and call plus plus. And what I need to do is I just need to print the sum of I plus row and column, right? So I'm going to say sum will be plus equals to array of row call. Okay, and then I will just see out the sum over here like this. So if I try to call the method over here, print row sum, let's try to see what is the output. So output is 10, 26 and 42. So this is basically the sum of all the different three rows, and you can do it same for the columns also, right? You can calculate the sum of all the columns. And maybe with this question there can be another question we can create, in which we have to basically just tell which row is having the maximum sum, right? So the question can come that you have to tell what is the largest sum which is present in the array, which row has the largest sum. Or it can also come you have to return the index of that row which is having the largest sum, right? So again we can try to do it like we just have to check, we have to maintain another variable to check the maximum like the sum which is being stored in any row, right? So let's try to write the code for that also. So let's try to write the code for this now. So what I have to do is I have to basically tell that the largest sum is present in which row. Now you can try to let's do the both the questions over here. Let's say I can also return the index of the row which is in which it is present, or maybe I can also return the sum, what is the largest sum value present in the any of the row, right? So I'm just going to create a method over here. Let's just call it largest sum. I'll pass an array and row and call. So now what I'll do is I will maintain two variables, one for detecting which is the maximum sum value, or maybe one for the which is basically just calculating the indexes of the rows, right? So I'm going to create one variable, let's call it maximum, and I will initialize it with int min. Okay, and maybe for the row calculation I can just call it row index, and initially I will initialize it with -1, because I'll say that okay, nothing is the no row is having currently the highest number, it is just -1, right? Now I will just run two loops for int row equals to 0, row is less than 3, and then row plus plus. So same thing I have to do, I have to calculate the sum for each row, right? So I'll create a int sum over here, int sum, initialize it with 0, and then another loop for int j equals to 0, j is less than 4, and then j plus plus. And over here I will say that my sum will be plus equals to array of so instead of j I will be taking call over here, row and call, like this. Okay, now what I'll do is I basically, whenever I am completed the iteration of the inner loop, like I have iterated over the entire row, what I'll do is I will basically check after exiting the inner loop, I will check if the value of sum is greater than the maximum value. If this is true, then I will update my maximum. So I will say maximum will be equals to sum, because initially it will be min. So once we end iterated the first row, I will check the value, then second row I'll check the value. So whatever the value I have the maximum, I will update over here, right? And also I will also update the value of row index over here, because obviously whenever I am updating it for the maximum, that is the row I need to return. So I'll just say that row index will also be that particular row on which this value is being updated, right? So yeah, that's it. I guess we will just say over here, once my iteration is complete, I'll just come out and I will print, let's say, maximum sum is maximum, and I can also see out the row. So this will be my row, right? So if I just try to do it over here, largest sum, and if I run it, let's see. So the maximum sum is okay. So I need to put endl also. The maximum sum is 42, which we have seen already, and the row index is 3. So in the third row, we are getting the maximum sum, and the index of that row is 3. Okay, so that is how we are able to solve this. So we have this another question which is related to the 2D arrays. So the question says that we have to do the wave print. So what do we mean by wave print is that we have to basically start from, like, we have to basically take any index of this 2D array. Let's say the first one, right? So we can start printing from here, and then we have to print like maybe row wise or column wise. So let's say column wise in this question. So I have to print basically like this 1, 10, 7 and 14. Then I have to start printing on the next column from like downwards to the upward side. So 9, 3, 12 and 8, and then over here 13, 2, 16 and 15, and then 5, 6, 11 and 4. So basically you have to start from here and you have to go like this. Okay, so this is how you will be printing the array, like this, in this way. Now this can be any pattern. You can also print it like this, right? Or you can also start from here and you can start printing it like this. So totally depends on you, but the motive over here is that you have to start from somewhere, and then the next row will be in the reverse order, will be printed in the reverse order, and above that reverse order, and then reverse order, like this. So you have to basically make sure that you are printing it like this. Okay, so let's say in this case I will be printing it out like this. I have to print it like this. Okay, like this. So let's try to understand the logic behind this question, how we're gonna solve it. So if we look carefully over here, what should be my output? Let's write the output over here first. So output should be 1, 10, 7, 14, 9, 3, 12, 8, 13, 2, 16, 15, 5, 6, 11 and 4. So this is something which I am expecting as an output over here, right? So let's see how we can approach this problem over here. If I carefully look over here, so what are the indexes over here? So I have the row index as 0, 1, 2 and 3, and the column indexes are 0, 1, 2 and 3. Now if we look carefully over here, we will find a pattern, like how the things are basically happening in this printing. There is a pattern over here. We have to identify the pattern. So the pattern says that we are printing it like this. This row I am printing like this way, this row I am printing like this one like this one like this. Okay, so what is the pattern? For the 0th index of the column, I am printing it upwards, like downwards, right? For the second also I'm printing it downwards. For the one index I'm printing it upwards, and for the three index I'm printing it, like when the index are odd, I am printing it from like the last row to the first row, right? And when the index is even, I am printing it from the first index to the last index, like this. This is the pattern that I see over here. Now once we have identified the pattern, it is a bit very simple, like simple for me to write the code around this, right? What I need to do is I just need to iterate this this array column wise, and I have to basically check which column I am iterating on currently. If the column value is even, I will iterate from 0 to the 3. Okay, I will go this way. If the values are odd, then I will go from 3 to 0. That's it. That's how I will print. Okay, so if I try to write the code for this, like let me just try to write the pseudo code for this. So how will this happen? So I'm just gonna say that I'll be having two like loops. So first loop I will run on column, so it will go from 0 till the size, and for the second one I have to basically, the inner loop will go on each column. Like first the inner loop will go here, then here, then here, then here, right? Now I have to basically decide how do I need to print the inner, how should my inner loop go? Should it go this way or this way? On which factor is it this depending on? It is depending on this factor. Is it 0 or is it 1, right? So before running the inner loop, what I will check first is that if the column is even or odd. How will I find column is even or odd? We can say if column mod 2 equals to 0. This is how we can find even or odd. So if column mod 2 equals to 0, what does this mean? This means that my column value is even. If the remainder is 0, my column value is even. If this is the case, what I need to do in this case? When the value of the column is even, so in the case of even, I need to basically go from here to here, right? I need to basically iterate from the top to bottom, right? So my inner loop, if the condition, this condition is true, so the inner loop will basically go from a row starting from 0 and it will go till size, and it will just see out whatever I want, right? Else means the column value is odd. Now if the column value is odd, I am basically iterating backwards. So basically I will start from the last index of the row, right? So else I will run another loop over here for a row will start from the last index. So row minus 1, the last index, row minus 1, and it will go till 0, right? And I will just see out whatever I want. That's it. This is the code. This is the code. Okay, so that this now you can modify this code anywhere, like any way you like. If you want to print it this way, if you want to print it this way, if you want to print it this way, whatever the way you like, you can print it any wave pattern. It's just that you have to just understand how you are iterating in your code. Okay, so we will try to write the code for this now. Let's open the VS Code and let's create a new file for this maybe. So I'm just gonna go over here, create a new file 07. Let me just quickly write the boilerplate code. So let me just create a method over here. Let's call it void wave print, and it is just gonna take an 2D array. So I'm gonna say let's say 3 by 4 only, right? It is gonna take the number of row and also the number of call. So int row and int call. Now let's try to write the logic for this. So the logic says that for int call equals to 0, call is less than let's say 4 over here, and call plus plus. Now before running the inner loop, we have to check the condition for the row, right? So I'll say if call ampersand 2 equals to 0, that means if the column is even over here. So if the column is even, what I need to do, I need to run the loop from top to bottom, right? So I'll say for int row equals to 0, a row is less than 3 and row plus plus, and what I'll do, I'll just see out a row call like this. Okay, else, so I will go in the else block now. Else what I'll do, I'll run another loop for int row. It will start from the last index, so row minus 1, then it will go till until the row value is greater than equals to 0, the first, right? And row minus minus, and then we're gonna see out array row call like this. So basically this is how we're gonna print the array. So I'm just gonna create an array of a 2D array, and let's give it some values. Let me just try to copy it from here only. Let's create the same array over here. So I'm just gonna create this array. Now I will call the waveprint function. So waveprint, it is asking for array, it is asking for the size, and now let us try to run it and let's see the output. So the output is saying 1593711. So I guess one iteration is missing, so something is wrong. Let me just check quickly in the code. Okay, so if I'm trying to analyze my code over here, so I see 159 and 3711. Basically if I try to look over here, only the rows which are I'm iterating from the top to bottom are getting printed, but I guess the code is not going in the else block. Something is wrong over here. I feel that this might be the issue, that the name of the variable and the parameter are same. This might be the issue over here, not sure. So let me just try to do this one thing over here. Instead of saying it as a row, let me just call it RNC. Okay, so over here this would be my row minus 1. Sorry, row will be equal to r minus 1. Let me just try to run it again. Yeah, so output is 159 10 6 2 3 7 11 12 8 4. So you can check this out, and this is how we are able to do the wave print over here. So we have this another question with us, and the question basically says that we have to do a spiral print. Now this is a very interesting question and very important question also. What this question says is that we have to start from one index of the array. So let's say we start from 1 over here. So we have to do the spiral print. So spiral print will print something like 1 2 3 4, then 8 12 and 16, then 15 14 and 13, then 9 and 5, then 6 and 7, then 11, and then 10. So this should be the pattern that I want to print my array over here. Now this might look a bit like how do we solve it, but it is very easy. Just we will try to analyze how the pattern is basically going on. We'll just try to analyze this pattern over here and we'll figure out a solution. Okay, it's very simple. So let's try to solve this now. Let me just quickly move this spiral print a bit on this side. So we know that output should be 1 2 3 4 8 12 16 15 14 13 9 5 6 7 11 10, and we have to start from here, right? So let's say the row that I have over here, this is the 0th row, this is the 0th row, this is first row, this is second row, this is third row. Then first 0th column, first column, second column, and third column. So what does our pattern say? The pattern says that we have to first iterate over this row. Then we have to iterate over this column in this way. Then we have to iterate over this row this way. Then we have to iterate over this column this way, right? So once I have iterated over this row like this, once this row is printed, I will not print it again, right? So maybe what I can do is I can print it, and then in the next iteration I can just say that this is my top row, I need to print this now. So something like this I have to build the logic upon, right? So what I'll do is I will take let's say some variables over here. So let's say I will take a variable, let's call it tr top row, and then we will take a variable br bottom row. I'll take one more variable for lr lc. For left column I'll say left column, and then I have a right column over here, rc. So what do I need to do is I simply need to first iterate on the top row from left column till the right column. Then what I'll do is once this is done, I will increment my tr, right? So how will this work is I'll say from the left column till the right column, I will iterate this way and I will print the elements out. So the elements would be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once it is done, I will increment my tr. So now this will be my top row because this is already like these all elements have been printed. So this will be my tr. So I'll increment my tr. Then what I'll do is I will run a loop on the right column. From where do I need to start the printing of the elements in the right column? I will be starting from the top row because 4 is already printed. I need to print 8, 12, and 16. So I will print right column and I will start from tr and then go till br, right? So the output would be 8, 12, and 16. So all these elements are printed, and once this is done, I will decrement my rc. So rc will be this now. Okay, so I'll just shift it to the left. Then next up, what I need to do, I need to print this br from here to here. What is this? This is basically my rc and this is my lc. So I need to start from rc and go till lc, and I will print the br row. So the output would come over here as 15, 14, and 13. And then what I'll do, I will decrement my br. So br will come here, right? Next up, what are we going to do is we're going to be print. So this is also done. This is done. This is done. This is done. Next up, we're going to print the left column. The left column will start printing from bottom row and it will print till top row like this, right? So I will print over here as 9 and 5. So this is printed. This is printed. I will increment my left column. Okay. Next up, what I'll do is again I need to print my top row. The loop will keep iterating. So top row. So top row will be printed from left column to right column, right? So the output would be 6 and 7. So 6 and 7. And now if I increment my top row, it will come over here. So I'll stop the execution. I'll say until the top row is less than bottom row and the left column is less than right column. Until then, these loops will keep like going, like this will go here, this will go here, this will go here, this will. So these things will happen until the tr is less than br or less than equal to, and lc is less than equal to rc. So once this is done, then I'll go to my right column again. So right column, I need to print from top row to bottom row. So this one. So I will print 11. Then what I'll do, I will print my bottom row. So bottom row, so RC will also be like come over here. So it's on the same. So I will stop over here. Then I'll print bottom row from this to this. So this will get printed. So 10. So this is my output over here. So the solution is pretty simple. We just have to understand the execution. We are just iterating over the top row from this column to this column. then we are iterating on this column from this row to this row like this. Then we are iterating over here from here to here like this. So we just have to get this output, and you can start from anywhere, like you can start from here also, and you can print like this also. This is also possible. You can start from here also, right? So these things can be done. Like you can take your starting point anywhere you want, and you can do a spiral print with the help of like this. So this is basically spiral print. So now let's try to write the code for this. So over here I'm going to create a method to like do the spiral printing. So I'm going to say void spiral print, and this is going to take an array, and I'm going to take a row and a call variable. Okay, so now let's see how we're going to start it. So first I took 4 variables over here. So I will say that there will be a top row, right? So I'm gonna write top row. Then I would be needing a bottom row. Then I would be needing a left call, and I will also be needing a right call. So these are the 4 things we are gonna be needing. So where should I place it? So the top row, if I just quickly go back, so the top row is basically at 0th index over here. You can see top row will be placed at the 0th index, and bottom row will be at the last index of this over here, right? Similarly, left column will be at 0 and right column will be at the last index. So let's go back. So top row will be at 0th index, bottom row will be at row minus 1 index, left column will be at 0 index, and right column will be at call minus 1 index. So this is how basically we have assigned 4 variables. Now we're gonna run the loop, right? So first I will do the outer loop. So while my top row is less than equals to bottom row, and my left column is less than equals to right column. Until this loop is true, I will keep iterating again and again. Okay, so what is the first condition over here? So first I will be iterating over the top row, right? So I'll first try to print the top row. So what should I write over here? I'll say for int row equals to, or we'll not get confused between the row, like we already have the row, so I'll just take it I equals to 0, I is less than, so until when it should until when should I keep it? No, it will not start from 0 actually. It will start from left column, right? So the printing of this will happen start from left column, and it will go until it is less than the right column over here, right? So I'll say I will be equals to left call, and the I should be less than equals to right call, like this, and I will do I plus plus. So what I need to do is I need to basically print the ARR of, so I need to print row. So what is the row one? So the row, top row, and for the column I will be adding over here as I. The intersection of top row and I need to print over here, right? Maybe I'll put some space also. Okay, once this is done, what I'll do, I will basically increment my top row. That's it. This is done for the top row. Okay, again, next part would be I need to print my right column, right? So print right column. So I will run a loop. So let's see till when the loop should run over here. So the printing of right column will start from top row, and it will go till bottom row, right? And it will basically be plus plus because I'm incrementing it, and what I'm printing over here is the element top row and I, right? So this element is basically this top row and ith element I need to print over here. So I will write over here is for int I equals to top row, I should be less than equals to bottom row, and I plus plus, and I will just see out my array I and right call. So I need to just print out this element. Basically, no, this will not be tr. This will basically be the so this is ith, and this element I need to print. Then this element I need to print, right? And then what I'll do, I will just do the right call minus minus because I am decrementing the RC over here, right? Okay, so after this we will be printing the bottom row. So print bottom row. So over here what I'll do is for int I equals to, so bottom row will start printing from the right column, and it will go till the greater than left column, right? So over here I will start I will be equals to my right call, and I should be greater than equal to left call, and here I will be doing minus minus, right? So I'll be doing I minus minus, and I will be just counting the bottom and I. Once this is done, what I'll do, I will do bottom row minus minus because I need to send it upwards, right? Next up we are having the last so the left column, so I need to print left call. So for int I equals to 0, no, not 0, actually it will start from the bottom row, and it will go till I is greater than equals to top row, and it will be I minus minus, and what is it gonna do? It is just gonna see out array of I and left call, and then I'm just gonna increment the left column. So left call plus plus. So let's try to call it now. Spiral print. I'm gonna pass array, I'm gonna pass 3 and 4. Let's run it. So 1 2 3 4, then I got 8 to 1 2 to 1. Okay, there is some issue over here. Then 10 9 5 6 6. Okay, there is some issue over here. Let me just check what is the issue. Yeah, so basically I guess the output is correct. It's just like there is no spacing over here, that's why I got confused. I just have to add a space over here like this. So 1 2 3 4 8 12 11 10, you can check this out. You can draw the matrix and you can check if the output is correct or not. And basically this is the logic if you want to do a spiral print.